Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the 365 Message Center Show. Today, we're going to be talking about SharePoint site templates, and not the PowerShell kind, customized backgrounds in Microsoft Teams Mobile, and we're going to be talking about how you can use your business account in Microsoft Search to earn Bing rewards. Let's roll it. Did you just say cha-ching with Bing?
I did. I think it has a ring to it. Just to keep with the rhyme and alliteration.
Try hard much?
I can't wait till we get to that segment to talk about it, because it's interesting.
It should be fun. Hello, everyone. We're here to help you plan for change, help you fix your breaks and stay informed.
Oh, come on. You got to take a look at the sticker again, Daniel.
No, I know what it says. I just don't. I'm trying to make it flow. I don't know. I'm so happy to be here, people. So I really am. I'm not joking. That wasn't sarcasm or at all. I'm excited.
Oh, I believe you. I believe you.
We're going to kick it off with this really fun update. This is SharePoint Site Templates MC249248, and when I say SharePoint site templates, and we're talking about modern, okay, then for those of you that have dealt with them at all, the first thing that's going to come to your mind is PowerShell, because that's how you can do it. And it's really the only way you could do it with PNP, and you apply a template. Well, now Microsoft is going to enable in the UI, being able to apply templates to your site, to your SharePoint Modern site. Targeted release. So, and this is interesting because we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but targeted release selected users and targeted release organizations rolling out late April to mid-May, and then a standard release rollout mid-May to late June. This is really, like I said before, PowerShell has been the way to do this. And so it kind of limits you to those that, are either familiar with PowerShell, or if you can enable them with a script, which is something I have done for some power users, but it's like bringing it to the UI is going to be so much better. Being able to apply to a template to a new site. So if you're visiting a new site for the first time, then you, as an owner, a site owner, then you're going to be prompted, hey, do you want to select from this image gallery this template gallery, to select a template? But you could,
Daniel, question.
Yes.
So you said when you visit the site, the new site, is this during creation when you're saying create new site, or once the site is created, you apply the template?
Right. So it's kind of the same thing. You're applying a template after a site's created. But what it's saying is it's going to create the site, and on your first visit, it'll say, hey, do you want to apply a template to this? But you can also apply it to an existing site. So you can apply after you've been using it for a while, right? So you're going to be able to use this whether it's a new site or an existing site. And so you're going to be able to preview the template before you use the template. And I'm going to pop these images out just so we can see.
Is that a live preview? Or is this is roughly what it will look like on a site?
I think this is a preview of what it is in dog food. What I mean by dog food, I think this is what Microsoft is using right now before they roll it out. So I do think that's what this is. Maybe it's better if we're over on this side. So you'll be able to select a template. So they'll have certain templates that Microsoft is providing to you straight out of the box. And you'll be able to select these different templates. They all come with the content on the page and the various things that were required for that content. But I think one of the biggest things we're going to be here is this little tab that isn't really talked about very much in the documentation, nor is it talked about in this message, is templates from your organization. This is huge because you're going to be able to create templates Now, is this going to be the way we have to create templates now? Maybe. Are they going to have some sort of way of creating templates in the UI in the future? I don't know, but that would be great. But still, we can create our own templates and make them available to everyone. Yes, this is awesome. You know, you can create a project template. You can create a department site template. You can create an initiatives template, you know, whatever. I mean, that's where I think there's going to be a lot of power with this one. I hope you know that I'm excited about this, because I am.
Well, I can tell.
So, like I said, rolling out, we're going to have some templates that are going to be available: Department, Leadership Connection, Learning Portal, Learning Center, Showcase, Topic, which are two that we kind of have now, right? When you're selecting, creating one, Showcase and Topic and blank. And then we're also going to have team site templates. So you can read up. There's some learning here you can do on how, you know, this process will work. Again, though, it's very not clear on how you're going to add templates to the organization selection. Is it something you do in the SharePoint Admin Center? Is it something you do in a certain site collection? We don't know. Do you do it by PowerShell? This is something we talked about in our Clubhouse session, actually, late last week, right, Daryl? I think people were generally excited about it, but we just don't know what it'll look like right now.
Yeah, well, the other thing we talked about on that session in Clubhouse was whether we can apply these templates to the team site behind a Microsoft team. Now, you would think that because it is a SharePoint site, then these rules apply. I might want to apply a style of a template for the purpose of collaboration.
Yeah.
But we did get into a discussion on the Clubhouse then about the two camps of, well, why would you even do that when all your collaboration and functionalities in Teams, SharePoint's just there for document storage, is one camp that people are in. Then there's the other camp of people that like, hey, let's just make use of this site behind the scenes because it's got all that power and we can have all these pages and apps and panels and stuff that we can bring into Teams, sure, but we've got to put them in place to start with. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out too.
Yeah, and because team site templates are available, I would say it is supported to utilize these on those the sites that are backing the group. I'm looking forward to it, and I look forward to demoing it and helping organizations adopt it. So next up, I saw this wacky video of this kind of an oddball on Twitter who took a picture of himself and then used Microsoft Teams Mobile to make that his background. Yeah. And then he slid into the frame.
Yeah.
Who would do that?
Yeah, that was
Daryl?
me. Look, I even have the same T-shirt on that I used for that because, you know. Anyway, customized backgrounds for Microsoft Teams Mobile when you're attending meetings or you're joining calls. This is MC249625. It's sure something that we've got used to doing from our desktop, and some people love it, some people avoid it, some people just prefer to use Blur. But seeing it come in through mobile has been interesting. It is currently rolling out. So even though it says it is coming to mobile devices, they've already started delivering it to iOS. Began early April, completed, in a few days' time apparently, and Android will come starting early May. To see it in action, it was fun to play with. So as Daniel said, I created a little video. I've also put a few things together about reactions, thoughts, and opinions. I'll share a few of them now. When you have a background, and it is this webcam, for example, I can put a background and the AI cuts me out and puts me over the top of that background. Great. Sometimes you get mixed results there. Hey, Daniel, sometimes the lighting's not great, so it makes you look all kind of washed out compared to what you've got, and your arm goes missing, all that sort of stuff. Now, we've had background blur in mobile, background replacement on desktop. The background is fixed, the camera is fixed. So as I'm moving around, the background's not going to move. When you've got your mobile, your camera will move. And that was the thing I was trying to illustrate with this crazy little video on Twitter and LinkedIn as well, is that's one of the downsides, that you've got this fixed background. Not many people are going to be holding their phone for very long attending that meeting, and be able to hold that camera. Some will get their arm tired and it'll drift a bit. And this happens already anyway. You get to see up the nose of some very important people because they've still got their video on. So there's a few tips, check out the video that I've published. I'll drop it in the card at the top there of the video. But that's, rolling out soon to Android. One other thing to add to this, if you are an organization that has controlled the use of backgrounds to the point where you're only allowing blur, or maybe you're allowing blur plus the standard backgrounds that are available out of the box. There are the same backgrounds available out of the box on mobile. Then, that policy that you have in place is going to still control that same experience within mobile. If you want to allow people to create their own custom backgrounds, which is where the fun begins. And I say it's the fun because now you have the camera that you can use to capture the background that you might want to use. You need to adjust that policy so that it allows all backgrounds, all types. What was it? I think I've written that down here somewhere. All filters is the switch for the PowerShell command. So
and I feel like mobile is the perfect example or specimen for the policy of have your video on at the beginning of a meeting, but then if it's not just a video only meeting, something's being shown or whatever, I would suggest turning your video off anyway. For the vast majority of my meetings where people have been mobile, it's been very distracting. And I keep saying things like distracting for meetings. And I'm also say that about custom backgrounds sometimes. Because the point isn't you. You're not the point. Your background is not the point. The point is supposed to be whatever you're discussing or whatever's being shown. And whether it's a PowerPoint or something else, that's the point. Not your custom background, not your shaky video because you're on mobile and like Daryl says, you're getting tired holding it up. So just be mindful of that. If you're joining on mobile, sometimes you have to. Sometimes you're mobile or you want to go take a walk. Great, but people don't want to see your phone doing shaking because you're with every step you take, every move you make. We'll be watching you.
We'll be watching you. Now, we were talking off the air about YouTube striking us for potentially having copyrighted content.
Not that.
I said to you, Daniel, that no one would ever recognize what we were singing or saying anyway. So yeah. I don't think we're at risk with that one at all.
I don't think so either.
Maybe we should put the accreditation down in the description of the video anyway.
I don't think we should.
Just to be fair. We shouldn't? Oh, okay.
No, I don't think we should.
Never mind. Daniel,
yep.
Tell me, what's the other thing that has been there we go. It's on the screen. Introduced, and it's an interesting thing this week.
Yes.
Around awards.
Microsoft Search, earn Microsoft rewards when using a work or school account. MC249775. So if you have a Microsoft personal account, then you can earn rewards by doing searches using Bing, right? So if you're logged in using your Microsoft account and you go on Bing and you do a search, you can earn points for using Bing. You can earn points for doing quizzes and fun stuff like that. And you could turn those points into for gift cards for Best Buy or for the Microsoft Store or for you can do donations to charity and stuff like that. So it's a fun little program, and in fact, it worked on me. When I signed up for it initially, when they were giving all these promotions and all that, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Bing is now my default search engine because I get rewards. And now I've gotten used to Bing sometimes I go over to the other provider that may get more search results than Bing, but and check results and all that, fine. But Bing is now my default, so they won that bout. But for this one, they're basically saying you're going to be able to toggle for your tenant on April 10th, allowing the connection, and then May 10th, allowing the rewards being available for people to earn points when they do those searches using Microsoft Search. Remember, when we're using Microsoft Search powered by Bing, we are actually encountering content from internal and external. It's all secure. We've talked about this before, but now they're going to allow us to earn points, earn rewards, for this connection. I don't see a need of it. I really don't. I don't see why an organization would turn this on. I don't understand why you would use this. It's all for Microsoft's benefit, really, to encourage more. Just like they got me, they want to get everyone else. And, far more people are using Microsoft 365 accounts to do searches, I think, than are using Bing for personal searches. Maybe. Or maybe it's just a big amount of users. They just want to encourage people to use it. Anyway, so in the message, we have where you're going to be able to switch this on. So you're going to go to services in your admin center and Bing rewards right there. So you can choose to allow their accounts to be, have to a rewards account. And you're going to be able to have this checkbox that says allow users to connect their Azure AD and Microsoft rewards accounts. So this will be, if they have an existing account, they can link it and be able to do that. So I'm just not a huge fan of this. I don't know why, other than just promoting Microsoft's product.
Yeah. Look, I think it's a bit like frequent flyer miles in one sense that, yes, if you're using flight miles or loyalty programs and you're flying for work, then some places allow you to get that benefit, and this is one way to get the benefit of searching and earning points. I don't think though it wasn't really clear to me whether you're going to get points for searching stuff in your own organization. Congratulations today, you use Microsoft Search to search for that document that
that you couldn't find any other way.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
I think it's more like you performed a search and then you clicked on something that wasn't in your organization or something. I really don't know how.
It has to be that.
There wasn't that much detail on how all that's going to work, but I think that's what it is. Something like that.
And the points that say, you're speaking from your experience, your points are underneath your Microsoft account, your private account. Is it about linking your Microsoft account to your business account? And therefore,
yeah. Right. So it's not, let me bring.
You're not starting another pile of rewards underneath your work.
Right. It says users who have personal accounts can earn rewards points in connection with their work searches.
Yeah.
So you're going to link the rewards account that you have already. So you have to have a personal account to link it to your companies. Now, what information your company is going to see, I don't know. It doesn't give us that information. Like, is my organization going to see that my account is linked and see my personal email address? I would think not.
Yeah, because of all the shopping that you do during your lunch break.
Thanks. I would think that my organization is not going to be able to see that, but I don't. I would. That's what I'm going to assume. The way Microsoft usually works, they won't show that to my organization. Will they say that I have linked an account, a rewards account? Maybe. I don't, there's no details about that on here on the announcement whatsoever. All right, so moving quickly right along. Let's talk about iOS again. Do you want to?
Yeah, there's a lot happening in mobile for this week's messages. For Outlook for iOS, there is a feature that's been around, well, iOS in general. For a while, there's been a feature where you can press and hold certain buttons and it'll give you a context menu. And this was, I think, was removed from iPhone X or iPhone, I forget which version. No, it was iOS 14, I forget.
Are you making stuff up now, Daryl?
No. They took it out. They took it out because
Yes.
it was not being used so much, and they took out that 3D touch capability for screens. But the press and hold gesture is still around for iOS and is used by some apps. So they're bringing this now into Outlook for iOS. You can press and hold the Outlook for iOS button on your screen and it'll give you a few choices. But now they're bringing it into the app. So on screen, what Daniel's got there is if you press and hold the new message button, you will see new event, book workspace, and ask Cortana. Before I go any further too, this was message MC249609. So proud, Daniel. You didn't have to remind me. Nice to see that there's this option there. There's a few other apps I've recently found where in the app itself, there's been this functionality hiding for a little while. Daniel, I think your point was, are people going to know that it's there? How is this going to be discovered?
Yeah, I'm assuming and hoping that they're going to have a little pop-up once you get the new version of this app to say, hey, you can press and hold this to get more options. I would hope that they're going to do that, because if not, I would think this feature will never be used unless people are watching our show and they go, hey, Daniel and Daryl said to do this. And
it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
Now, I know it's not a big feature, but it did open up some discussion for me and some thoughts around one of those options there called Book a Workspace. Now, this was something that was made available for Exchange last year, where you can add another resource type for a mailbox. We've had bookable resources, we've had meeting rooms. Now there's Book a Workspace, or Workspace as an option. And here in New Zealand, we've been able to go back to work for some time on and off. We've had a few different COVID lockdowns, but we're already experiencing the effects of hybrid work and the change in the way that people choose to work on certain days and not for others. Flow-on effect for that is that some organizations realize they don't need as much floor space. So there's the condensing and reconciliation of how many desks and floors they need to have, which now requires you to try and plan for how those desks are used based on who's in the office at the time. Flip side of that, which we also experienced early on, was as you're coming back from that lockdown, we also had some rules and regulations around space that was available around people. So there was supposed to be less desks anyway to reduce the risk of infection. All of these reasons require you to coordinate that, and that's why you've got that Book a Workspace option. So nice to see it come into iOS. Some of you might already be using this feature via Outlook on the web or from Outlook on the desktop. When you go to schedule something, you just add the workspace like you would a meeting room. But good to see that there. I think there's Ask Cortana, so that's going to be a thing too, a way of triggering that off, and that opens up a whole other conversation. But I think that is due to come early April, so should be rolling out now. I went looking today. It doesn't seem to be available to me in the New Zealand Apple App Store, but maybe by the end of April I'll see that there. Good.
Wonderful.
Daniel, you've got one more that you can talk about around Teams and
absolutely
backgrounds again?
Yes, backgrounds again. This is Microsoft Teams introducing organization-wide backgrounds preview. MC249777. So currently your users can replace the background with various backgrounds that Microsoft provides or that they provide if you, like Daryl mentioned, if you allow that. However, what this is bringing is in preview feature, is the ability for backgrounds to be supplied across the organization. And meaning you can say, here's our backgrounds, our official backgrounds for you to use. I actually think this is a great idea. For all of the background poo-pooing I do, I think this, if you're going to use backgrounds, you want people to use them, have some standards. Now, will that make some meetings boring where you're meeting with 10 people internally and that everyone has the same background? Maybe. But anyway, so this is, rollout begins late April and completed late May. But the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about this is that this is something that requires the advanced communications add-on. So for those that are familiar with this advanced communications add-on for Microsoft Teams, when it first came out, there were several things that you had to have this for, like large live events. You had to have this, like the mass, and then large meetings. You had to have this for the people who were scheduling these meetings. However, because of COVID, Microsoft has actually increased live events and increased live meetings so that more people can join and have easier use of Teams. And so you didn't need the advanced communications license. So this is a new feature that you will need to use that add-on for. Now, I am not a licensing expert, and I don't claim to be, but basically, the way I believe this works, the advanced communication add-on, is people who are adding the feature, who are managing the feature that requires this license, have to have the license. Not everyone. I think that's the way it's going to work. So, meaning I, as the person who creates these custom backgrounds for the organization, then they will need the license, but not everybody would need the add-on.
That's a fair question, because for those other scenarios, and it's just going back to those larger live events and larger meetings, I think the license is still going to apply, but what Microsoft have extended is that free period. So to get to a point where you will need those advanced licenses, I believe. For this one, yes, you would hope that people who want to use the standardized custom background that has been deployed to the whole org hopefully don't have to have a license just to use a special background, because we'll just sidestep that and stick it somewhere else, really.
Right. Well, you could sidestep it by saying, hey, everybody, go get this thing and use it as your background. And if you don't, you're in trouble. So I agree, but I actually like this centralized. I think this is a great thing to do. If you're going to have backgrounds and for branding your organization, I would suggest you not have one, have several of them. And I'm not saying force everybody to use only yours, but I think it's a great thing to allow people to use. I will say the advanced communications add-on, at least in my tenant, there are 3 ways you can get it. One is you can pay $5 per month. That's the first one. So you can pay $5 a month, or you can pay $60 a year. It's the same. Yes, it's the same price. The second thing is you can get a 60-day trial, and it is a trial, but it's a full version trial. And the third one is you can get a 180-day trial. So maybe if you want to try this, get the 180-day one. And you can get up to 25 licenses, I think, when you get that trial for it. There's other features, and we don't really have time to dive into what the advanced communications add-on gets you, but there's other things it does get you right now, some policy things. And anyway, I'm not going to dive into it. When I said I wasn't going to dive into it, so I'm not going to. But please do your research.
Such restraint.
Okay, I'll tell you. No, I'm just joking. All right. Fine, you twisted my arm. We have some quick mentions, and Daryl's going to do both of them, and then we do have a callback, and I think it's a very interesting callback. So let's do some quick mentions. Daryl, what about team live events?
Okay, well, there's a few of them there, actually. Should we do the one about anonymous presenters quickly?
No, we should do the opt-in for live events, since I have it right
let's do the opt-in. Oh, I'm totally changing the plan right now. The opt-in for live events. All right. So today, when you do a live event within Microsoft Teams, it's all within the Teams desktop. In fact, you have to run it there. I have come across situations where we've had people who tried to join from Chromebooks, and for some reason they couldn't be part of the event. As a producer, you definitely have to use Teams on desktop, but it's encompassed right within the full Teams. There's no other way to go off to do anything else, like go and explore a team or go in and find documents or find conversations. Once you're in the live event, that's it. You're in the live event. This feature, MC 249608, lets you pop that producer experience out to a separate window. Much like we're doing today with meetings, you can pop out that experience as a producer. Now, that requires, if you want to opt in, that requires you to send an email. Now, that's the thing that Dan and I think it's a bit funny. Like we're starting to see a pattern here where sometimes features are released where they don't have the on switch or the opt-out switch in the case of promoting Teams personal banners.
Right.
Send an email to the appropriate product group and support, and we will turn it on or turn it off for you. A little disappointing. But that's going to be, well, it's available now, apparently, if you want to request it.
If you want to send that email now, people, send it in.
Yep.
And you'll be able to...
TLE requests. That's Teams Live Events requests.
Yes.
At Microsoft.com.
So let's talk about the next one is allowing anonymous presenters in Teams Live Events, MC249250. This is something we actually wanted to talk about last week as a callback. We wanted to show it to you because it showed up in my tenant. I'm like, I want to show it. And then it wasn't there anymore. So apparently they pulled it back, but then they're going to roll it out again. So rollout will begin in mid-April and completed by the end of May. And this is really that allowing anonymous, so this is not guests, this is anonymous, people to present. And so when you go to create the meeting, you'll be able to select allow external presenters. It doesn't even say anonymous on it. It says external presenters. And you'll be able to select that. I think it's fantastic because it enables that functionality with an event to where you don't have to have, people, and you need to sign up to be a guest in my tenant, or you need to have a Microsoft 365 account and join the event. You don't need to do that. You can have a more inclusive event. So I think that's spot on. I think it's awesome. Definitely. So the next one is about attachments in Outlook on the web. You want to cover that?
Yep. So the best way to understand this is when Daniel shows the screenshot. But when we're in Outlook on the web, we have attachments that we see in email. And today you can click on an attachment. I think you can still click and open that attachment and work on a document live while you're still in the email. So that's kind of nice. But really this message, MC249244, is about bringing that together, that functionality together with some other choices you might make for an attachment, such as you are trying to preview the document, edit in browser, which we can see, edit in desktop, save to OneDrive, and download. So it's all within that drop-down menu, and it keeps it all nice and simple. See the examples there of being able to open up and work on that document while you're still in the email, and that is still quite useful. So that is rolling out to targeted release beginning mid-April, expected to complete late April, standard release early May, finished by mid-May. Government and Germany will be rolling out early June and expect to complete rollout mid-June.
I love it. I love seeing announcements that have, calling out government and special tenants. I'm all for that. I think it's great. Yep. Should we cover these other two? Let's do it real quick. This is organization logos in Outlook for iOS and Android, MC249626. If your organization has defined a logo in the admin, then you're in Admin Center, you're going to be able to show that same logo will show for mobile in iOS and Android. And I'm going to show this real quick. So it'll show up for you, so that this is really helpful because I, as a user, will be able to see, is this the organization that I'll see my organization. Now, I think this is what this is really helpful for is two cases. One, for if you're using Outlook and you have two accounts, like have a work and a personal, then it'll definitely, okay, this is my work. But then also if you have multiple Microsoft 365, then it'll show because, you'll be able to differentiate those. So that's where I think
it's actually only going to work with one work account.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. And so,
okay.
So you saying the Outlook client only uses one work?
You can have multiple accounts
right.
From different tenants, but the logo trick is only going to work for one account.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So you'll be able to see your work. So yeah. So cool. I think that's...
Well, it's been a good security feature for yes. Calling out. Like when you see a message like on the screen, you got there one from Daisy Phillips. I know that there's a picture there of Daisy, but if that was sent to someone external, that a company using that logo would see this is from the Contoso logo, for example, and it's a security thing. We know it's genuinely from that company. So that's the same mechanism they're using to bring this into the Outlook iOS.
Well, what I'm really liking, the problem is that when you're creating a message, the text of what account you're sending it from is very, very faint. And so when you're creating, you go multiple personal work or whatever, it's nice that when I'm creating, I'll see that company logo up there and know I'm sending it from my company account. I'm really excited about that. So that will, so that is early May, completed late June.
Yes. Callback time.
Yes, callback time. So I am thoroughly excited. Am I? I guess I am. I'm thoroughly excited to talk about this one. This is introducing a SharePoint app bar that features global navigation MC240066. It is now live for those of you that are targeted tenant. Now I'm going to talk about what kind of targeted, because frankly, let me see, is there any way I can zoom in over here? There we go. Look at there it is on the left for those watching the video. But having a SharePoint app bar, the way I did this was I used PowerShell to designate what is my home site. And when I do that, then on that home site, I get a option in the settings gear that says global navigation. And we talked about this in the show. The problem is that in the message, it talks about it's going to release it for targeted tenant, both individual and organization. Now, what does that mean? You have three settings for your release preferences in a tenant for Microsoft 365, right, Daryl? You have standard, you have targeted for the organization, so that's everyone.
The whole organization.
And then the third is targeted for individual or group, really, because you can find a bunch of people in that. Well, I did not get this wonderful app bar because, and the way I knew I wasn't getting it is because in that settings gear, there was no global navigation option. It was missing. And I was like, what in the world's going on? It's because I was set to targeted release for my whole tenant. Even though it says it's supposed to be rolling out to them. And I did see the app bar at one point, and then it went away. So someone said on Twitter, hey, if you switch it, actually I got from Vlad Katanescu, he told me, hey, if you switch it to targeted user, then it'll show up. And it did. Now it took a couple hours, but it showed up. And so my demo tenant is set to targeted for me. So that's just a key for you here. It's showing up. So I've defined my global navigation. I get the wonderful, and this is on all of my SharePoint sites. I see this app bar. Now only I see it because I'm set now targeted to only me. But that's what we have. I have access to my sites and my news items show here. So this is pretty fancy stuff. I like it. It is exactly what was promised. This kind of global navigation across your sites, and I'm liking it. I will say, yes, it does. If you have any sort of third party that's application that's using that top space, it can cause some overlay issues and such. So you might want to disable it, and not use the app bar for a while. So anyway, any thoughts, Daryl, on this?
I came across the same experience, and it was only because I was trying to set it up to get Viva connections working within Teams. Same thing. Had to switch that to targeted release for individuals and groups, and boom, there it was. It's a pity that we weren't told that level of detail, or it wasn't clarified in the message. But eventually getting it, that's cool to see. And it's setting us up for the next phase of Viva Connections, which is mid-year, when we start to see some of those other dashboard bits and pieces.
I wanted to quickly show everyone on the video, but if you're in your admin center and you go to under settings and you go to org settings, and then the organization profile tab, you click on release preferences, and that's where you're going to select from the 3 options. Okay. Standard release, target release for everyone, and target release for selected users. Now, if this is your production tenant, don't change this now without thinking through some of your, without thinking through some of what the implications are. Don't just go and switch it for the app bar just for you, because again, just think it through. We're not telling you to switch it on right now, but that's how you get it for now. Awesome.
There you go.
I hope you felt my energy, people, because I was excited about this week. I was excited about the show. Got some really good SharePoint items, and I love SharePoint. Got some great Teams items. I love Teams. And then Daryl was really excited about linking his rewards account with Microsoft Search. So.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, no, that's right. I don't even know if rewards pays out for anyone outside the US. So I haven't even looked that closely at it. So that's a whole other show. Maybe we'll find what it is and put it in the description.
Make sure you join our Clubhouse, our club on Clubhouse. We've had some interesting conversations this past week about some of these items and just hearing what people thought. So love for you to join us there. Make sure you give us a follow on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook at 365MCS. Anything else?
No, it's like, well, I'll just add to that. I know that we publish our show as a podcast, but think of that Clubhouse as your podcast on your commute home. Tune in, listen to it. If you do feel the need to share an opinion, raise your hand, and we'll throw you off. I'll throw you up there with off mute.
We'll throw you off if you
we'll throw you
off.
We'll kick you off.
No, we want to hear from you. Daryl's exactly right. And it's not just us sitting here talking it. Get engaged, and we'd love to hear from you. And some of your perspectives can be part of the show as well. So we'd love to hear from you. All right. That's this week's episode 190, right, Daryl? 190.
It is 190. It's a grand old number. Ha.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will catch you this week in our club and Clubhouse. You can be looking forward to that. And we'll see you next week. Say bye for now, everyone.
See ya.